Walk with me down a hallway you've never seen. Not because it's hidden, not because it's off limits, because no one talks about it. Pick any mega resort on the Las Vegas Strip, doesn't matter which one, they all look the same now. Step out of the elevator. The doors slide open and it hits you. That smell. You know the one. Industrial carpet cleaner mixed with recycled air. That particular Vegas scent that's supposed to smell like luxury but really just smells like climate control working overtime. The hallway stretches out in front of you. Endless. Door after door after door. Identical brass numbers catching the light. Identical keycard readers blinking green. Identical do not disturb signs that no one has touched in days. The carpet is immaculate. Not a single footprint. Not because housekeeping is exceptional, because no one has walked here. Listen, what do you hear? Nothing. No rolling suitcases. No kids running ahead of their parents. No couples laughing on their way back from dinner. No doors clicking open and shut. Just the hum of the air conditioning. Just the buzz of those fluorescent lights. Just silence where there should be life. Now I want you to do something. Pick a door. Any door. Think about what's behind it. A bed. Crisp white sheets pulled tight, pillows fluffed and positioned exactly 45 degrees, a mattress that costs more than some people's cars, waiting for a body that won't come tonight, a bathroom, towels folded into shapes, little soaps still wrapped, a shower that runs perfectly, heating water for no one, a window, and behind that window, the entire Las Vegas Strip blazing in the darkness, a view worth $500 a night, being seen by no one. This room will sit here tonight, empty, and tomorrow night, empty, and the night after that, empty. Now multiply that by 5,000. 5,000 rooms. That's the number. That's how many hotel rooms sit vacant on an average night in Las Vegas right now. Not during some freak slow period. Not in the dead of January when no one wants to travel. Every night. 5,000 rooms with beds no one sleeps in, showers no one uses, minibars no one raids, views no one sees. Let me make that number feel real. 5,000 rooms could house the entire population of a small American town. Everyone in Tombstone, Arizona. Everyone in Roswell, New Mexico. Every man, woman, and child packed into rooms that Vegas can't fill. 5,000 rooms is enough to shelter an entire university campus. Every student, every professor, every administrator, all of them could sleep on the Strip tonight with rooms to spare. 5,000 rooms stacked on top of each other would reach higher than the Empire State Building. That's what's sitting empty. Every single night, while the lights keep blazing, if you've watched any of my videos before, you know I don't throw numbers around to scare you. I throw them around because they matter. Because behind every statistic is a story. And this story, the one about 5,000 empty rooms, it's going to change how you see Las Vegas forever. So if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit that button. Because what I'm about to show you isn't just about Vegas. It's about what happens when an entire economy starts to unravel. And you're gonna wanna see where this goes. Now, 5,000 empty rooms might sound like a rounding error. I get it. Las Vegas has over 150,000 hotel rooms. More than any city on earth. 5,000 is what? 3%? Sounds manageable. Sounds like noise. But here's what that number doesn't tell you. Those 5,000 rooms aren't spread evenly across the Strip. They're not a little vacancy here, a little vacancy there, everyone sharing the pain equally. No, they're concentrated, exposed, bleeding from specific properties while others hang on. Some resorts are running at 40% occupancy right now. 40%. That means more than half their rooms sit dark every single night, entire floors that might as well not exist. Meanwhile, down the street, another property is hovering near 80%. Packed lobbies, full elevators, almost like the old days. The gap between winners and losers is widening, fast. And here's why that matters. When occupancy diverges this sharply, when some properties are drowning while others tread water, it means the market is making a decision. The market is picking survivors and victims. Right now, behind closed doors, executives at a dozen major resorts are staring at spreadsheets that tell them they're on the wrong side of that line. They're the victims. They just haven't admitted it yet. The properties hemorrhaging the most rooms? They're not the ones you'd expect. They're not the old downtown casinos that everyone already wrote off. They're names you'd recognize instantly. Names that used to mean something. Names that are now synonymous with 500 empty rooms a night and a finance team that's running out of ways to hide it. But here's the thing. 5,000 empty rooms is just what's visible, just what shows up in the official numbers. What's really happening inside those properties? The desperate measures they're taking to mask how bad things have gotten, the tricks they're using to make 40% occupancy look like 60? That's where this story turns dark. Because the real vacancy rate, the one they don't want you to know, it's so much worse than 5,000 rooms. And what it reveals about the future of Las Vegas is something this city is not prepared to face. Let me tell you how to lie with a hotel room. It's an art form, really, one that Vegas has been perfecting for decades. But what's happening now? This isn't clever marketing. This isn't spin. This is desperation wearing a suit. Trick number 1, comp rooms. You know those free rooms the casinos give to loyalty members? The ones that feel like a gift? Like the casino is thanking you for your business? They're not gifts anymore. They're camouflage. Properties across the strip are handing out rooms like candy at Halloween. Not because they love their customers, because an empty room looks bad. A comped room looks occupied. Same dark window from the outside. Very different story on the spreadsheet. Some properties are reportedly comping 30% of their rooms right now. 30%! That's not generosity. That's panic disguised as hospitality. A comped room counts as occupied, but it generates zero revenue, zero gambling minimum, zero restaurant spending, just a body in a bed so the numbers don't look so catastrophic. Trick number 2, employee housing. You know how workers can't afford to live in Vegas anymore? Rent through the roof, wages stuck in the mud, some of them sleeping in their cars in the employee parking lot. Well, some casinos found a creative solution. Offer those workers rooms at steep discounts. Solves 2 problems at once, right? Workers get a place to sleep. Hotels get another occupied room on the books. Except it doesn't solve anything. It just hides the bleeding. A worker paying $50 a night for a room that should rent for $400 isn't revenue. It's a bandage on a bullet wound. Trick number 3, the one that should scare you most. Closed floors. Not renovations. Not upgrades, just dark. Entire sections of hotels being quietly shut down. Elevators that skip certain floors. Hallways that end in locked doors. If a room doesn't exist in the system, it can't be counted as empty. Simple math. Evil math. I talked to a maintenance worker at a property I'm not going to name. He told me they've closed 3 floors since November. No announcement, no explanation. Just one day the rooms were in the system. Next day, they weren't. He said, management told us it was for efficiency, but I've been here 19 years. I know what efficiency looks like. This isn't that. This is hiding. Hiding. That's what all of this is. A massive, coordinated effort to hide the truth. Because the truth is unbearable. Industry insiders tell me if you strip away the comps, the employee housing, the closed floors, if you count only revenue-generating guests in rooms that are actually making money, the real vacancy rate isn't 5,000 rooms. It's closer to 40%. 40% of the strip sitting empty or bleeding cash every single night. But here's the thing that keeps executives awake at 3 in the morning. The tourists who are still coming, they're not the right tourists. The visitor profile has shifted dramatically. The families who used to book 4 nights and spend freely, gone. The repeat customers who came twice a year like clockwork, gone. The middle-class gamblers who didn't think twice about dropping 500 at the tables, gone. You know who's left? Deal hunters, coupon clippers, people who found a flight for $89 and a room for $60 and figured why not. They come for 1 night, maybe 2. They eat at the cheap buffet. They gamble $20 on slots and call it entertainment. They leave before the casino ever had a chance to make real money off them. And the concert tourists, the ones who fly in for a show at the Sphere or T-Mobile Arena, who stay just long enough to see their artist and take a photo for Instagram. They don't gamble. They don't eat at the steakhouse. They don't do anything that actually keeps a casino alive. They're tourists, but they're not Vegas tourists. And that difference? That's the difference between survival and extinction. Vegas was built for a customer that no longer exists. The middle-class American with money to burn and time to waste. They're gone, priced out of the rooms. Squeezed out of the economy, replaced by visitors who spend a fraction of what Vegas needs to survive. 5,000 empty rooms is a crisis. But the rooms that aren't empty, the ones filled with deal hunters and one-night concert goers, they might be an even bigger problem because those guests aren't spending enough to keep the lights on, and the casinos can't survive on bodies alone. They need wallets, and the wallets have left the building. Here's something no one tells you about an empty hotel room. It's not free. An empty room is one of the most expensive things a casino can own. Most people assume vacancy just means missing revenue. No guest, no income. Simple subtraction. But it's so much worse than that. An empty room still needs electricity, still needs climate control fighting the desert, keeping it cool in summer, warm in winter, 24 hours a day, whether anyone's there or not. An empty room still needs maintenance. Plumbing that has to be run so pipes don't corrode. Systems that have to cycle so they don't fail. Housekeeping doing checks. Engineering doing rounds. An empty room still ages. Carpet wears, paint fades, fixtures deteriorate. The clock doesn't stop just because no one's watching. The industry average cost to maintain an unoccupied hotel room is $85 per night. $85 just to keep an empty room ready for a guest who never shows up. Now multiply that by 5,000. 5,000 rooms times $85. $425,000 per night. Burned, gone, not invested, not spent on improvements, just evaporated into the desert air to maintain rooms that nobody wants. Run that math over a year. 365 nights times $425,000. $155 million. That's what Vegas pays annually just to babysit empty rooms. $155 million that generates nothing, produces nothing, returns nothing. Just keeps the lights on in rooms where no one's home. But here's where the math turns truly brutal. That $155 million, that's just the cost side. It doesn't count what those rooms should be earning. Average room rate on the Strip right now runs about $300 a night, some higher, some lower. $300 is the midpoint. So every empty room isn't just costing you $85 to maintain. It's also not earning you $300 in revenue. Combined hit, $385 per room per night. 5,000 rooms times $385. $1.9 million. Lost every single night. That's not a slow leak. That's a hemorrhage. But we're still not done. Because a hotel room isn't just a room. It's a delivery mechanism. Every guest who books a room doesn't just pay for the room. They walk through the casino, they eat at the restaurants, they drink at the bars, they shop at the retail, they see the shows. Industry research says the average Vegas visitor spends $600 beyond their room rate. $600 on gambling, food, entertainment, shopping. Every guest who doesn't book a room takes that $600 with them. It never enters the building. Never touches the slot machines, never tips a dealer, never orders the overpriced steak. 5,000 empty rooms times $600. $3 million in lost spending every single day. $3 million that should be flowing through restaurants and casinos and shops, paying servers and dealers and retail workers, cycling through the Vegas economy like blood through a body. Instead, nothing. The money doesn't exist because the guests don't exist. And you cannot cut costs fast enough to outrun that kind of loss. I've talked to finance people at 3 different properties. They all say the same thing. The room losses they can absorb hurts, but survivable. It's the downstream collapse that kills you. When the room's empty, the casino empties. When the casino empties, the restaurant's empty. When the restaurant's empty, you start laying off servers. When you lay off servers, service quality drops. When service drops, the guests who are still coming start leaving bad reviews. When the reviews tank, even fewer guests book rooms, and the spiral accelerates. Empty rooms aren't just empty rooms. They're the first domino. And right now, across the Las Vegas Strip, that domino is falling. $3 million a day, walking out the door. And the only way to stop it is to cut costs, which means cutting people, which means the workers who were already barely holding on are about to lose everything. Maria checks her phone at 5 in the morning, every morning, before coffee, before her eyes are fully open, before she's even left the bed she can barely afford to sleep in. She's checking the app, the scheduling app that tells her if she has work today. 15 years she's been a housekeeper on the Strip. 15 years of knowing exactly what her week looked like. 15 rooms a day, 40 hours a week, enough to pay rent, enough to raise 2 kids, enough to believe the work meant something. Now she wakes up at 5 and prays. Prays that enough rooms got booked overnight. prays that the algorithm picks her name, prays that today is the day she gets enough hours to keep the lights on. Some days the app says 8 rooms, some days it says 4, some days it says nothing at all. Her paycheck has been cut in half. Her rent hasn't moved. You do that math long enough, something breaks. She told me she used to pray for busy weekends, used to hope for sold-out Saturdays when the halls were packed and every room needed turning. Now she prays for any weekend at all. Now she takes every shift she can get, doubles, triples, working at 2 different properties just to piece together what one job used to provide. She's not alone. Housekeeping staff across the strip has been slashed by an estimated 30%. 30% of the people who make beds and scrub toilets and fold towels into little swans, gone. The ones who remain are fighting over scraps, fighting for shifts, fighting for hours, fighting for the right to clean rooms that fewer and fewer people are booking. And it's not just housekeepers. Dealers are getting cut. Fewer players means fewer tables. Fewer tables means fewer dealers needed. The ones who stay watch their sections shrink, watch their tips evaporate, watch 20 years of experience become worthless overnight. Servers are getting cut. Restaurants that used to run full staff now operate with skeletons. One server covering sections that used to take 3. Running themselves ragged for tips that don't exist because the customers don't exist. Bartenders, valets, security guards, maintenance crews. Every empty room sends a shockwave through the entire building. Less traffic, less spending, less reason to keep a full staff. The cuts come quiet. No announcements, no headlines, just a schedule that keeps getting thinner, hours that keep getting shorter, a paycheck that keeps shrinking until it can't cover the basics anymore. I talked to a dealer named James. 22 years at the same property, started when he was 23, thought he'd retire from that floor. He said the pit used to buzz, energy everywhere, players 3 deep waiting for seats, tips flowing, the kind of night that reminded you why you got into this business. Now he stands behind empty felt for hours, shuffles cards for nobody, watches the clock and does math in his head. Math that doesn't add up. He's 51, bad back from standing on concrete for 2 decades, no degree, no other skills, no plan B. He said, "I gave this city my whole life, and now I can feel it getting ready to throw me away." That's not bitterness, that's just observation. Workers are leaving Vegas now, not because they want to, because they have to. The city they built is pushing them out, rent they can't afford, hours they can't get, a cost of living that climbs while their income collapses. They're moving to Phoenix, to Texas, to anywhere that isn't here, taking their experience with them, taking their families with them, taking whatever's left of the dream that Vegas used to sell. And the ones who stay? The ones who can't afford to leave, who are trapped by circumstances and obligations and roots too deep to pull up. They're the ones checking their phones at 5 in the morning, praying for rooms, praying for hours, praying for one more day. 5,000 empty rooms, thousands of workers losing everything, a city that's starting to devour its own. But here's what should terrify you. Even if you've never been to Vegas, never planned to go, never cared about casinos or strip clubs or all-you-can-eat buffets, this story isn't just about Vegas. It's a warning. And what it's warning about has already started spreading to a city near you. Vegas didn't do this to itself. I mean, it did. The price gouging, the fee stacking, the systematic betrayal of everyone who ever believed in this city. Vegas absolutely did that. But the 5,000 empty rooms, the collapse in visitors, the slow motion death we've been documenting, that's not just Vegas, that's America. The tourists who used to fill those rooms, the middle-class families who saved all year for 4 days in the desert, the couples who came for anniversaries, the friends who made it an annual tradition. They didn't stop loving Vegas, they stopped being able to afford it. Not just Vegas, anything. Consumer debt in America just crossed $17 trillion. 17 trillion. Credit cards maxed out at record levels. Average interest rate pushing 24%, savings accounts drained to nothing. The savings rate has collapsed to under 4%. That means for every $100 Americans earn, they're keeping less than 4. There is no cushion anymore. No buffer. No fun money set aside for vacations. There's just survival. Just rent. Just groceries. Just trying to make it to next month without something breaking. These are the people Vegas was counting on. These are the people every tourist city in America was counting on. And they're gone. Not coming back. Can't come back. You want to know the scariest part? Vegas isn't special. Look at Orlando. Disney raised prices 14 times in 10 years. A single day at Magic Kingdom costs over $200. Family of 4 can drop $5,000 on a trip that used to cost $1,500. And the cracks are showing. Repeat visitors down, wait times down because crowds are down, hotel occupancy falling in the shadow of the castle. Look at Miami, the new playground for the ultra-wealthy, luxury condos, bottle service everything, room rates that would make a Vegas executive blush. The service workers commute 2 hours each way because they can't afford to live within 50 miles of the beaches they clean. Nashville, Austin, New Orleans. Every city that became a destination, every economy that built itself on visitors. They're all running the same playbook. Raise prices, extract maximum value, assume the tourists will keep coming no matter what. And they're all discovering the same truth. The tourists are tapped out. The middle class is drowning. The money isn't there anymore. Vegas is just first. Vegas is just loudest. Vegas is the canary in the coal mine. And right now, that canary is lying at the bottom of the cage. We built an entire economy on the assumption that Americans would always have money for experiences, for vacations, for escape. That assumption is dying, and no one has a plan for what comes next. I want to take you back to that hallway, the one we walked together at the beginning. Door after door after door. Same carpet, same lights, same silence. Each door represents a bet. A bet that someone would come. A bet that the good times would keep rolling. A bet that America would always have a middle class with money to burn and dreams to chase. Those bets are losing. 5,000 doors tonight that won't open. 5,000 rooms that won't generate a dime. 5,000 small deaths in a city that used to feel immortal. Vegas always said the house wins. Built an entire mythology around it. The house always wins. But what happens when the house is empty? What happens when there's no one left at the tables? What happens when the players can't afford to play anymore? We're about to find out. Not just Vegas, all of us. Every city that depends on tourism. Every economy built on the assumption that Americans will always have extra. That assumption is 5,000 empty rooms. And tomorrow night, it might be 6,000. The lights are still on. For now, the machines are still singing. For now, but the rooms are empty. And the hallways are quiet. And somewhere in the distance, you can almost hear it. The sound of a city holding its breath. Waiting to see if anyone's coming. Waiting to see if anyone's left.